welcome to my channel. My name is Elizabeth and I am so glad you're here today. So I wanted to start 2026 by balancing my bookcases. I want to know, how many books do I have? How many books have I read? How many books are on my TBR list? And how many books did I start and never finish? Because I feel like that's kind of important information to know, because I should finish them, right? I think so. So let's get started. I have already counted all of the books that I can find. Sometimes books kind of get scattered around my house and I don't find them. So far, this is what we have. So I'm going to mark them on my handy dandy little whiteboard here. So on the first shelf, let's see. Let's get some titles here because we need those. We are going to have a total books per shelf, and then TBR, which is to be read, and then we're also going to have DNF, did not finish. And then at the end of the video, I will show you some of the recent books that I've gotten that are on my TBR that I'm currently in the middle of, or that maybe I started and haven't finished yet and kind of moved on from, and we'll discuss why. So on the first shelf that I did, there were 30 books total. 30. And there were 14 TBR. And 3 DNF. So let me explain. The first shelf I did is my mysteries. And one of my favorite mystery authors is an author by the name of Niall Marsh, and her books are not still in print. So when I find them at used bookstores and places like that, I tend to buy them in bulk. I just buy whatever's available that's in good condition that I don't already own. So as a result, I have a lot of those, especially that I haven't actually read yet. Okay, the next shelf I did, there were 24 books. 4 were on the TBR list. Again, also mostly part of a series. Most of them were part of a series that I just ended up buying a whole series at one time. And there was one in that same series that was on the DNF list. Actually, I got partway through the series and I just kind of got bored and moved on and never came back. We might have to revisit that series. Okay, so the next shelf, there was 16 books. 16, and 1 TBR. And 0 DNFs, which is exciting. These are our counts so far. Total, TBR, and DNF. Okay, the next shelf I did, there were 34 books. It's my big shelf. It's actually double stacked. 34 books and 12 TBRs. 12 TBRs. Yeah. No, actually, that's not my big shelf. That's not the one that's double stacked. It's just one of my bigger shelves. 12 TBRs. And 0 DNFs. So, okay, the next shelf, there were 13 books. I think that is my smallest shelf, one of them anyway. There were 8 TBRs on that shelf and 1 DNF. Those last two shelves I counted, those are mostly nonfiction books, and this last shelf there was only 13 and 8 TBRs. Most of them are like collectibles and they're coffee table books, so they're very, very large, which tends to make it kind of hard to read a little bit, but they're fascinating books. So the next shelf, this was my big one. This was my big one. It is double stacked. It's my main bookshelf, and it has 46 books on it. 46. Of those 46, though, only 3 are TBR. So 46, 46, 3 TBR, and 6 DNFs, which I feel like compared to some of the shelves, the math on that one's not that bad. Okay, the next shelf, I had 34 books, no TBRs, and no DNFs. The next shelf I did, there were 20 books, 0 TBRs, and 0 DNFs. That shelf, it's a lot of those two shelves. One of them, it's all classic literature. That's all my classics. That's my Jane Austen, my Louisa May Alcott, my Ellen Montgomery, Charles Dickens, Alexander Dumas, Jules Verne, all those kind of authors, and many, many more. The Bronte sisters, things like that. So I've read most of those. As a teenager. So that's a pretty solid shelf. The last shelf, it's again a lot. It's my short stories. It's short story collections. It's fairy tales, just different things like that. And then other just various books I have scattered around my house, just kind of in piles. Some of them are books that I have recently purchased and just haven't found a home yet. There were 13 of those. Of those 13, there were 5 TBRs and 0 DNF, because most of them are books that I have read on my Kindle. They were ebooks that I read that I really loved and I purchased, so I have already read them. And then those that I haven't read, they're on my TBR. So these are our current numbers. I kind of ran out of room. I wrote too big, I think. So let's get some totals here. I have no idea what these are going to be, and I'm a little nervous, to be honest. A little nervous, just a little bit. So totals, we have so I own 230 books. 230 books. That's a lot of books. Let's find out how many of that 230 I have not actually read. Let's see. 8, 9, 10, 11, 47. So of that 230, 47 are on my TBR list. Now let's find out how many I didn't actually finish. I am so bad at this. Although it's actually not that bad. Only 11. 11 on the DNF list. Just 11. That's not bad. Because I have to admit, I am notorious starting a book and not finishing it because I get distracted. I either am having a really hard time getting into the book, or I just decide that I'm bored with it, or I get a new book and I'm too excited to read it, and so I immediately just jump into the next book, and then I forget to come back and finish it. And I also am notorious for committing I'd say some people consider it to be the cardinal sin of book reading, in that when I don't finish, I'm notorious for skipping to the end to find out how it ends. I just miss everything in the middle of how we got to the point. Not great, not great. But, you know, all total of that 230, that's only 58. That's not bad. That might even be a doable number for most of this year, because that's my goal in 2026, is to actually read all of my books, because I bought them for a reason. People gave them to me for a reason, and I need to read them. I want to read them. So that's something I think I need to work on, you know. Yeah. So let's get into some of what is currently on the TBR or DNF lists. So one of the books, I didn't count it as a TBR or a DNF because I am currently in the middle of reading it and I am loving it and very excited about finishing it. And it is this new little book. It's called Classic Christmas Crime Stories. So it's very, very cute. It's just this cutesy little book, and has this cute little ribbon bookmark to help me keep track of the pages. And they are all crime short stories, mystery short stories that take place at Christmas time. So some of them are only like 10 to 15 pages, and then some of them are more like 50 pages, but they feature stories from authors like Nida Marsh, that I already mentioned. She was a great mystery author during the golden age of crime fiction in that same era. She was a contemporary with Agatha Christie and many others. It also features stories by Arthur Conan Doyle. It's a Sherlock Holmes Christmas mystery. It's called The Blue Carbuncle. I actually read it the other night and it was very, very good. Robert Louis Stevenson. It's another name many of you would recognize. So there are several in here, and I'm very, very excited. It's got these beautiful little gilt pages, and it's just so cute. It's just like a little pocket book. This very beautiful little pattern on the inside, and then inside the book jacket, it's just this lovely pale blue color, which is just wonderful. So that was a beautiful little surprise that I got for Christmas. Next is a book that's on TBR, and I had planned to read it this year at Christmas, and I just simply didn't get around to it. It's called Once Upon a December, and it's as you can tell, I went bargain shopping at Books A Million, and it's a beautiful little rom-com that I thought was super cute. A one-of-a-kind Christmas market offers holiday magic in this new romance from the author of The Kindred Spirits Supper Club, which I've never read, but this one sounded so cute. And with a name like Astra Noel Snow, Holiday Spirit isn't just a seasonal specialty. It's a way of life. But after a stinging divorce, Astra's yearly trip to the Milwaukee Christmas market takes on a whole new meaning. She's ready to eat, drink, and be merry, especially with the handsome stranger who saves the best kringle for her at his family bakery. For Jack Clausen, the jewel market, with its snowy lights and charming shops, stays the same, while the world outside the joyful street changes, magically leaping from one December to the next every 4 weeks. He's never minded living in this charmed existence until Astra shows him the meaning shows him the life he's been missing outside of the festive red brick alley. After a swoon-worthy series of dates, some Yuletide magic, and the unexpected glow of new love, Astra and Jack must decide whether this relationship can weather all seasons, or if they're just feeling, or if what they're feeling is as ephemeral as marshmallows in a mug of hot cocoa. So, this one sounded really cute. I don't know if I will try to read it in January and keep the Christmas magic going, or if I will just save it for next Christmas. I'm not sure. We'll have to wait and see. So this one actually was classified as a DNF. I started it and I did not get around to finishing it. And it was A Murder at Balmoral, which I was very fascinated by when I started it, but I think because it's very kind of slow to get into the actual crime. It was very difficult for me to stick with. I found it to be a little slow, but the concept is fascinating. So the idea is, what if the current British royal family that we know and love was not the royal family? What if alternate timeline, so it takes place in an alternate timeline, what if Edward VII never abdicated? What if he remained king, married someone different, and that line of the family continued as the royal family? It's an interesting theory. So this one says royal families have killer secrets. The king is dead. The killer is in the family. Solving this murder will be a royal pain. The royal family has gathered at their Scottish retreat, Balmoral Castle, for a traditional Christmas. As a blizzard gathers outside and a delicious dinner is prepared, the family circles up for a holiday toast. King Eric has something momentous to say. In fact, he's about to name his successor. But he raises a glass of his favorite whiskey and drops dead. The king has been poisoned. Someone in the family must have done it. And each of them had an opportunity and motive. Eric's beloved head chef Jonathan must now play detective. Why would one of the king's own family want to kill him, and how did they do it? What happens in the castle usually stays in the castle, but this secret might be too big for these battlements. John is determined to expose the truth, even if it puts him in the killer's crosshairs and shakes the entire monarchy to its core. Fascinating premise. Like I said, I just had a really hard time getting into it, but I definitely want to give this one another chance. But I think I might wait a while before I do. So we'll see. So for now, it stays on the DNF list. Another one that's on the TBR that I really was excited to get to this December, and I just simply ran out of time, was this adorable little kitten, How Snowball Stole Christmas. How cute is this? It's by Kristen McKenna, author of Snowball's Christmas. As you can probably guess, Snowball is the adorable fluffy white kitty. Snowball, the fluffy furball who found her forever home at a cozy Victorian inn, has her paws full this Christmas, bringing two stubborn hearts together. Good thing no mission is too big for this kitty Cupid. Most cats have 9 lives, but Snowball is one of the very few with 2 jobs. Officially, she's the Weber House Inn's greeter. Unofficially, she's the town matchmaker. Her track record is the cat's pajamas, until she meets her owner's grinchy brother, Peter Dimer. Peter hopes to move the family bookstore to a busy location downtown, but someone else has outbid him for the last storefront. Christmas is the ideal season for Laura Wolf to fulfill her dream of expanding her home business into a real shop. Too bad someone is posting negative comments on the town forum. What kind of Grinch objects to a toy store? These two are sure to be a perfect match. They already have so much in common. Books are kind of a toy, right? Snowball thinks so. Now all they need is to add to the mix is love. And Snowball has just the right shenanigans up her furry sleeve. So I think this one's going to be super cute. I was very excited to read this one, and I just simply ran out of time. So this is one I think, again, I might try to read in January if I get a chance. Keep the Christmas magic going, because I really don't think I want to save this one for next Christmas. So another one I am currently reading is this one called I Love Disney's Magic Kingdom. It is by Daniel Kelly with Ian Wilson. I love Disney, and I love knowing Disney hidden magic and facts and history. And so this one is just very fun. It's an unofficial fan guide, and as I have a big Disney trip coming up, I was very excited to read this one, and this one is all about history and details and magic hidden within the Magic Kingdom. It is the ultimate fan guide for Magic Kingdom lovers, as you can see right here. So I'm very excited about this one. I will probably be talking about this one again in a later video when I discuss books I'll be reading in the month of January that I plan to for sure read, and as well as balancing my bookshelf again for going into the month of February, where I talk about what I read in January, what can come off the TBR, and kind of figure out, maybe if I get rid of some books, unhaul a few things. If I do, I will definitely let you know. But yeah, so it's very fun. The sound on this one is so good. Oh, I love this. Okay, we'll have more fun with this one later. And then another one that's new. It is currently on the TBR, but this one will probably be saved for next Christmas. It's this beautiful collector's copy of Classic Tales of Christmas. So some of the books that are in this one I have read, because it does feature stories like A Christmas Carol, but it also features some lesser known stories like The Little Match Girl and The Gift of the Magi. It also features The Nutcracker and the Mouse King and more. It has The Cricket on the Hearth. It's got some Christmas stories by Louisa May Alcott, as well as The Life and Adventures of Santa Claus. So I'm very, very excited to read this one. It's got these beautiful gilded pages and some beautiful inside cover art featuring, of course, a one-horse open sleigh. So this one is just so beautiful. It again has a beautiful red ribbon bookmark, because I feel like fancy books just have to have ribbon bookmarks, So I definitely think I'm just going to save this one for next Christmas to give me something to look forward to. I think it's just going to be so beautiful and so fun. So I'm very excited to get to read this one at some point in the future. Little gold little ornaments, and it's just so pretty. That might be silver. I'm not sure if it's silver or gold. I genuinely can't tell in this lighting. Oh well, it's whichever one we want it to be. So I hope that you enjoyed this video today. I am so glad you're here, and if you have stuck with it this long and you enjoyed, I would really appreciate it if you click the subscribe button down below. That will help me so much. And stay tuned for the next video. Bye.